Welcome to the AI Files, where we dive into innovative ideas on how educators are using artificial intelligence in their educational journey. I'm your host, Corey Gill, and today I'm thrilled to announce a truly remarkable guest. I have Jennifer, commonly goes by Jenny, DeGrace, is part-time faculty in the Faculty Health Sciences, and her story goes far beyond the professional title. Jenny is a cancer survivor's dedicated educator and loving mother to a young family. I know she's used AI to strengthen her abilities as a professor and as a mother, but I'd rather let her tell you her story. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you, Corey. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Happy to have you on board. And I'm just wondering if you can share your story a little bit as to how you got interested in AI and share what you will.
Absolutely. So, my story kind of goes back to last summer. My life changed, dramatically, and I was facing a huge health crisis, and I have stage 3 breast cancer. So I'm on the other side of all of the harder, active treatments like surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation. But I'm still suffering from a lot of quality of life issues. That has completely changed how I work, how I function as a parent, how I function as a professional. So it kind of goes back to that beginning part of last summer, where I knew that my work tactics had to change a little bit. So when I started learning about what AI can do, it certainly piqued my interest as to where I can take it to, give me that more dimensional type of development and teaching with my current methods. So, yep. So I got through all the hard stuff, and I actually started back to like my full-time capacity of teaching just this past spring. So when I got back into it, I had course outlines to do. I had, I was actually developing a part of a course, all the while of being a cancer thriver or survivor. I'm on lots of medications. I'm on an oral chemo medication right now that really does affect my quality of life. So I thought, how am I going to be productive, but still, you know, watch my time. My time is precious. That's what cancer has taught me. It's put a new, it's kind of put a new lens in front of the way I see things now. So it's kind of sharpened my focus. What's important, being with my family, making sure that I'm not putting, anything before what's, top of the line for priorities. So that's where AI came in. I figured, I could probably use AI to help improve my workflow, but also improve my efficiency and how how productive I am as an educator.
Well, what revealing stories. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I like the cancer thriver.
Yeah,
I haven't really heard that term too often, so I
yeah.
appreciate you sharing that. And
Thank you.
I think it's fantastic that that you're able to go through this, recognize the impact that it has, but also still do what needs to be done for your professional career as well as your home life. I'm curious because I know when we first met, you were curious about generative AI and how it might be able to help you do a few things. And I'm wondering,
Mhm.
have you continued to use generative AI? Have you moved past generative AI? What are you using in your work life to ease the outside work life?
I feel like I'm still in my infancy journey of using AI, but I'm still in that generative, zone of using AI. So um, I've used it in many instances, in the past, I would say, 4 or 5 months. I would say the most profound areas that I've used it or where it has affected my personal workflow would be, I'm using generative AI to help me create learning objectives, for course outlines when I'm doing curriculum development. I'm even feeding the AI with like my evidence-based literature that I'm using to help build my curriculum and content and allowing it to summarize, a 5 or 10 page scientific journal article, it brings some of the concepts together for me, which saves me time. And I can then apply it to my content and delivery, or rather, development portion of creating this content. So that was probably the first time I used generative AI. Because what I actually found very helpful with generative is that not only am I feeding it what I need, what I found, my particular research that I found through my research methods, but um, all or searching, not my research, but searching. And what I found was that it also gave me, other information from the internet, and it would cite it for me. Like it gave me resources at so I mean, you still have to vet some of this stuff, right? So, you'd go in and make sure that this is all peer reviewed and it's scholarly and we're looking at, true and accurate information. But I'm talking saved me hours and hours on searching for information from places that I would probably not look. So that's probably my first experience with it, and I've continued on with that. But since then, I've used it with creating test questions. I've asked it to, like, I feed it with content and I say I would like, you have to be quite specific on, who the test question is for, giving it a lot of information so that it's very um, specific to basically who your audience is, right? But yeah,
Right.
I've created test questions. I've created assignments with it. Like I lay out what I'm looking for, and it will completely generate an assignment for me based on the content that I'm putting into it. Um, and it's in a matter of like 30 seconds. So it's so fast. It's really fast.
Fantastic. Now, I know we did a lot of work with Copilot, and
Yes,
the college obviously is big on Copilot because we have an enterprise contract with them, so it
right,
keeps security there. But
right.
there are some other tools out there. Have you looked at any other tools, or have you stuck with Copilot the whole way?
I've stuck with Copilot. I've have a pretty good relationship with it now. It's learned a lot about me, and it's become quite smart. It's kind of learned what I'm looking for. So I find it's just the interactability, like the way that it interacts with me is quite cool. So, but I'm now that I think a little bit more. I'm understanding the concepts of AI. I think I'm ready, to take the plunge and try something new. And that was my whole approach to this was I probably wouldn't have ever tried AI before my health journey, right? Because, I take more risks. I do things that, why not? Why not try something that's going to save me time if it truly will? So before what I've been through with cancer, I probably wouldn't have tried this before. But some really helpful advice I would give people out there is to just give it a try. It really can't hurt, and it's going to save you time 100%. So
As you say too, when you run into problems or whatnot, the CTL does have people like myself and Jonathan, et cetera, to,
yes,
to help you overcome those. So you're not alone. You're never
yeah,
alone.
okay,
And the I like to call them the kind of AI use to group is basically growing at Durham College. We should probably find a way to bring the community together more often through these types of challenges so that we can break them down together. But I like the fact that you're venturing out and considering other things. There's so
yeah,
many tools that are out there.
yeah.
But for the newcomer coming out and the use of the tool, the interface, I'm wondering if you got any coaching tips or whatnot where you started to make it a little bit. I know you're saying just keep working at it, but
Yes.
where did you start that made the path or the journey a little bit more accessible for you?
Wow, that's a really good question. It happened quickly. Like it wasn't, with some things that you try it, it's like a learning curve and it takes a lot of time to get through it. It wasn't like that for me. It was pretty fast. I would say within the first couple of days of using it, I wouldn't say proficient, but I certainly knew my way around using Copilot. So
Right.
I would say, keep trying. If there is issues with functionality, there are ways around it. You can ask the CTL or I just do a lot of trial and error, and that usually fixes my problem, or even just closing down and starting back up sometimes fixes issues. If I'm like using a lot of, energy on the computer or something, sometimes that's a problem. But yeah, it's just it happened fast. Like the learning curve wasn't long. So I would say give it a try because it really you'll get into the groove of things quite quickly. So I think that the biggest takeaway would be to try it because a lot of us aren't willing to kind of go outside the box of how we normally teach
Right.
or approach developing curriculum, and that's a problem. It will leave us behind in currency, right? So if we want to be current, as educators, we're seeing students using AI, in the classroom, and how are we going to navigate this? We have to know a little bit about it. So jumping in and trying it for your own purposes with developing your curriculum and putting it into your teaching methods, it's only going to help you. It's not going to get in the way. So just I would say just try. I don't have a lot of coaching tips. I feel like I'm still pretty new at it. But definitely give it a try, do some playing around with it, and you'll be so surprised. Like I literally have been so surprised to the point where I've gotten many people on board with trying it, incorporating it into their teaching methods. So yeah.
I love it. I love it. I couldn't say it better myself because everyone's journey is a little bit unique when they
Yes.
go into it, but the benefits I think outweigh the drawbacks and the learning curve because it is artificial intelligence, so it
Yeah.
actually works with you to make itself easier to use.
Yeah.
At least that's been my experience.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'm curious because again, you set out down this path to still be the excellent prof you are, but also have a little bit more time for the family.
Hmm.
Mission accomplished.
Oh yes. So for example, in the spring I'm revising a course, one of the courses that I teach, and I had to add in about 10 hours of curriculum. Okay, which is a kind of for me, that was a big thing to take on because of what was going on in my life. So a mission accomplished. I cut my amount of time that I usually would have spent on a project like this probably in half or more. So, now I'm able to be more plugged in as a mother. I'm not. My kids used to joke around and say, "Oh, we know when something's happening, mommy, because you're behind your computer screen." Now I'm behind my computer screen less. And when I am behind it, I'm very productive. And I'm not less productive. I'm actually probably more productive, but I'm spending less time, in that administrative zone of of teaching, right? And we all get behind in that area of, man, I wish I was maybe doing something else right now, right? Or I've got somewhere to be. I got to drop the kids off to swimming or to gymnastics or whatever, and it's a hustle. So yeah, mission accomplished. It was something I wish I had added into my work life a long time ago because it has improved my work life balance. And like I said, my
Beautiful.
motivations were completely personal, like very selfish because I wanted more time. Because I know my time is precious, and we're not promised tomorrow, we're not promised next year. So why am I going to spend extra time on something that I can do quicker with the aid of an artificial intelligent agent?
I love it. I love it. And true. I mean, every day is precious,
Yeah,
and we see that all around us. So you shouldn't miss what's happening out there.
yeah,
Curiosity, and obviously we haven't talked about this one or anything like that. But
yeah.
have you used Gen AI, or any AI in your personal life at all to help things out? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so on a personal level, I did find an AI application to help me in my cancer journey. It's almost like an AI companion that it's an app that I've uploaded onto my phone, and I can ask it questions about treatment protocols, current
Amazing.
evidence, yeah, in the kind of cancer that I have, what standard of care looks like. Like I said, I'm on a pretty fairly new medication, so I had a lot of questions about that medication. So AI and it is a part of my medical journey with having cancer. So that's pretty interesting. I didn't even know that existed, and again, I found it by chance. I guess maybe because, uh, you know, all the algorithms know that I'm into AI, so it popped up in as an option, and I uploaded it, and it's been very helpful. So yeah, that's how I've incorporated it into my personal life, although it is in a medical way, but it's been quite informative, and it, again, very quick. So, and it gives you the evidence behind it. It's not just about telling you treatment protocols. It gives you, where what resources it used to let you know where it found it.
That's fantastic. And I like the fact that you've kind of looped in a concept that most people are aware of and they don't really recognize. And like Siri and Hey Google and all, they're always listening. And
Yep.
that's why we see ads and whatnot. But not everything's bad. Not everything's about selling, right? So they're
Right.
sharing
Yeah.
applications and whatnot that can
Yeah.
benefit us from listening into our conversations. So thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. My next question, though, is now that you've become a little bit more capable with AI, how's it
Yeah.
impacting the classroom and how you see students using AI?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like that's a twofold question. The first part that I would probably unpack with that question is, I'm asking AI to help me find my curriculum more engaging, right? Because I have to deliver, for example, a history lesson. Like I'm a dental educator. I am not a history professor. So, but I do, as a part of one of the units that I've created, it's in and around Indigenous awareness and our journey to reconciliation to our First Nations population. But a part of that journey of reconciliation is delivering history. So I had no idea how to do that without losing my students, right? Because I find, maybe that kind of content might not inspire everybody, right? So I've used it to help me create ways and asking it plain out questions, and I've fed it my history lesson, and I said, hey, how do I deliver this and keep my students engaged? And what it gave back to me were many ideas on how to do that. And
Awesome.
one idea was so helpful that I've put it into my lesson planning for that unit. So that's how I'm going to be delivering it. So it's helping with student engagement first of all. I feel like that has helped me, especially with my development side of things. What I'm delivering is far more engaging because I'm using ideas and delivery methods that I probably wouldn't normally use because I didn't maybe know about it or it wasn't something that was top of mind. So that's the first part of your question. The second part is me knowing how to use AI is helping me understand how students are using it,
Yeah.
right? So as an educator now, I'm picking up more times when it's not their writer's voice, when I'm getting an assignment and I just know that this is not how the student speaks, or they're actually handing me in like a cut and paste version of what they because now I know what that looks like. I've done it myself.
Right.
I know that I have to change things around, but maybe students, are trying to do things a bit quicker and just do a cut and paste kind of assignment submission. I know by how they cut and paste, I can tell even if it's been generated by AI because of references at the bottom. And I'm like, oh,
Incredible.
I know that Copilot made this for you, so you have to redo this. So that has been very eye-opening. I would have had no idea. And looking back, students have been handing stuff in like this to me probably for years, and I did not know because I didn't understand the interface of how it works. So now I know. Now I've become a little bit more aware and my eyes are more open to how students are using it now. And it's helping me, teach my students that it's not something I allow, like I do allow them to use AI in certain circumstances, but
Yep.
not for certain essays or something like that. I prefer them do it on their own. But yeah, it's been a huge help in that way. So yes, student engagement and definitely knowing how to use it allows me to realize how they're using it behind the scenes to hand things into me.
That's fantastic. I like that too,
Yeah,
because you're absolutely correct. Students can sometimes, and that's kind of our policy is it's up to the prof when they're going to use AI, but they
right.
have to be transparent about using it, and it's so difficult to detect if they're using it now unless you've actually been using it yourself, because
Yeah,
you can see it, and there's obviously concerns and whatnot, but
right.
utilization of it is the best way to kind of get in front of those concerns. I love that.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
so looking ahead, I'm
Yeah.
curious, where do you think you're going to try and go with AI, both in your professional and your personal life?
So I think professionally, I'd really like start using it in a more creative way. Okay, so creating presentations, using avatars. I know that you've introduced that to me a while back, and obviously I'm not quite there yet, but I think I'm at that cusp now where I'm ready to take the next plunge in learning how to use it more creatively. Instead of just productivity wise, I want to use it to up my game a little, right? Because
Right.
that'll set me apart as an educator. And they'll say, "Oh, you know what? That professor was really cool with AI, and she did some cool things with it." So I want it to improve, my legacy as an educator. So that's my next step professionally. That I would like to take it. Again, I just need to put some time into it and probably talk to you a bunch and figure out how to do that. But yeah, but it's even just watching you on your computer screen was so helpful because I could see how you manage it, right? Without seeing someone work with it, it's hard to almost conceptualize that. So that was
Absolutely.
helpful. So I do recommend people reaching out to the CTL or even to you, Corey, just to get that, that interaction with how you speak with it. It was really eye-opening for me. So that was very helpful for sure. Um,
Fantastic.
but professionally, yeah, I think I might start using it for things like emails or, creating, like invites. Sure. I mean, that sounds really interesting, but more so I think it would be like for managing my schedule because my schedule can be a little bit busy at times being like an active mother to young children and I have tons of appointments still. I'm still fighting cancer. So the kind of appointments I have, are quite crazy actually. I'm dealing with a lot of appointments. So having to manage my medical side of things and manage my personal life, that would be very helpful. So that was actually something that I'm going to look into for sure, is how to help it with my scheduling.
We should talk because it's funny you mentioned seeing it in action and whatnot. And so we still do the monthly kind of CTL PD sessions for people that are available. But one of the ones I do are hacks and the hacks of
Ah,
creating your calendar. And I actually show you how to make it write a file that you can actually ingest into your Google Outlook. It doesn't matter, and it schedules all your appointments for you.
love that. Okay, I'm gonna call
Right.
you, Corey. We got to
Yeah.
talk.
And that's just it. That's okay. Perfect. I guess it's kind of the last thing I kind of want to grab, kind of the last aspect of it is it's been a great story and I appreciate that it's helping you and you still got a lot of a lot of journey left in your thriving with cancer.
Yes.
But I'm curious if there was something that kind of an aha or a surprise or a reward you weren't expecting when you started down this path that you might be able to share with people to kind of give that last little pull and then we'll move on from there.
Yeah, I would say that um, my motivations, like I said, were quite unique, and my story is quite compelling. But what I really want to kind of drive home to people is that I wish I didn't wait until I had to deal with health problems to make my life easier, right? Because I could have done this a long time ago, a couple of years ago, or even last year, or a year before cancer, and you know, it would have maybe cut down on my workload a little bit so that my work-life balance was better and my health didn't suffer because of it, right? So, yeah, just don't wait until it's kind of too late to try to start changing your work life because we don't know, how we don't know how it's going to affect us if once we get into a place where we're faced with a health concern or something in your life that's become, put you in crisis mode. It may not even just be health related, but really anything. So don't wait because you will fall in that behind, don't fall behind in being current in being an educator because it's really important. I think AI is going to be a huge aspect of our educating life, really. So
I think you're right. Yeah, Jenny, I'm going to say it's a truly inspiring story. As I say, when we first met, I found it very, very just compelling. So I really appreciate you coming, sharing this with us. I appreciate you sharing the insights and the journey. So thank you very much, Jenny. I appreciate
Thanks,
your
Corey.
contributions.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
To the
Absolutely.
listeners, I really hope that you found today's conversation enlightening and motivating. I will remain available, and I'm sure Jenny would be willing to talk to anybody who'd be interested in having that, not to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, it's okay. No, totally fine.
I do hope to have more inspiring stories for you in the future. But until next time, be curious, be innovative, and let AI inspire your journey.